After losing 2 games in a row for Manchester City, the winless run is over. They finally gotten a win. I mean, let's just say that the last week has been terrible for them, losing 2-0 to Manchester United and losing 3-1, even more shockingly, to Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. They needed to win today. It was against Wolves, so the expectation was always for Man City to win this game. In fact, if they did not win this game, then we would know that they have a serious problem. To me, they already do have problems, but this was a much needed win because they still have some tough games to go. Well, maybe not too tough, but they have some tough games to go. But I think today, what was more important or what was more of a talking point than just winning this game was the fact that Guardiola did not start Haaland and he also did not start Foden. The two of them are on the bench for the beginning of this game, and I think that was a very interesting choice. Now, from what I see, from what I hear, it was a big gamble. Not really a big gamble, it worked. But apparently this was to cleanse and clear Erling Haaland's mind. Did he need it? I don't know. I think Haaland is still a fantastic striker, but maybe he needed a break of some sorts. But I mean, he did come on, but not too much for him to do. But I do think that this current attack is really good for Man City. They have Marmoush, who scored today. They have Semenyo, who also scored today. And then they have Foden on the bench. They have Haaland on the bench. They have some really good players, and you have to say that this is what we expect from City. They should be winning these games easily. But you have to say that even Marmoush as well, like coming back, this is the first game he started since he came back from AFCON, and he scored a goal in like 6 minutes. Brilliant goal, by the way. Beautiful cross from Nunez. And a really late run for him to score that goal. So I think that was just him being very alert and hungry for a goal. So you have to say it was a good goal. And then Semenyo, I mean, he's just going to keep scoring. That's his 11th goal this season in the league. Third goal for Man City in 4 games as well. So, I mean, you have to give him a round of applause. He's doing well. Like, he's come into Man City and he's slotted in very well. He's not taking too much time to get used to playing with this team. Yes, he still has a lot of, getting used to the team that he has to do, but it was a good goal, and he clearly is not going to take too much time to settle into the team. So a good goal from him. And like I said, 3 goals in 4 games for him. That is a good record. I think he started well for City. But more importantly, Manchester City actually kept a clean sheet. Now, stop for now. If you've watched to this point, I would appreciate if you give it a like, share with a friend, leave a comment. What do you think about today's game? But let's get back into it. Marc Guéhi made his debut. And not just making a debut, they kept a clean sheet. Manchester City kept a clean sheet, which is something that they've needed to do for a while. You've seen that Man City have problems with their defense. They've not been good recently. They've conceded 5 goals in their last 2 games. So you have to say that this was something that was needed. And with the injuries to Guardiola, to John Stones, to Ruben Diaz, they needed somebody to come in. And the signing of Marc Guéhi was brilliant, in my opinion. That was a guy whose contract was going to be running out at the end of the season. So getting him in, brilliant from them, and getting a clean sheet today, also really good. Now, you can also give the caveat that Wolves have not been very good this season, although this is their first loss this year. First game that they've lost in 6 matches, I think. So, fair enough to them. But if we're being real, Wolves they've struggled to score goals. There was a whole month where they didn't even score. So, you look at it and it's like, yeah, if there's a team you're expecting to keep a clean sheet against, it should be Wolves. So, still, it's a good result. And Guehi coming in, standing his ground and saying, yeah, I'm here, and making sure that he kept a clean sheet. You can see what it meant to them when I think it was either him or O'Reilly who blocked one of the last shots at the end of the game. You could see the passion and how much Donnarumma was so happy to finally keep a clean sheet for the first time in a long time. So, ultimately, not really a long time because they beat Newcastle 2-0, but the point is, there is now some sort of calmness at the back for now. It's just one game. I don't want to judge too much. There's still time, and right now, is this the best, starting centre-back pairing for them? I don't know, but Guehi was very much needed by Man City, and you have to say that it was a good defence, a good first game for him, and, this makeshift defence that Guardiola has had to make, at least they kept a clean sheet, which is very important for them. But they have some really tough games towards the end. Towards this coming week, they play Galatasaray and then they play Tottenham away. And we all know how Man City can be with Tottenham. it's just one of the craziest stories I've ever seen. City can be at their best and they will just lose to Tottenham for some reason, but it's what it is. Um, you have to see that there was some drama as well, like the VAR check. Yes, is the Premier League is the referee's first Premier League game, but I do think, crucify me if you want to, I don't think that's a pen. Like, it happened really quickly. The ball was really close to his hand, but the excuse or the statement that it was in a natural position, I don't buy that. I don't think it was a natural position, but I do think that there was very little he could do to move his hand out of the way. So I think if they gave a penalty for that, it would be harsh. But then I would also not be like, oh my god, that's a bad decision. It could have been a pen. If the ref gave a pen, I would not say no. But I do think that if he gave it, it would have been harsh. So I think that was the right choice. But I know Man City fans would not agree with that. But more importantly, 2-0, clean sheet, win. City also did have some shots go off the woodwork. I think Marmoush had one, Semenyo also had one, and Haaland came on and, well, he couldn't really do much. But at least, like, Man City are back to winning, so that's the most important thing. Now the gap is currently a bit smaller, 4 points. Arsenal still have a game to play, so, and if Arsenal beat Man United, which there's a high chance of that happening, it goes back to 7 points. But Man City really, really needed to win today. That was just it. They needed to win this match today. Like, there was no other option. They had to win. And after losing to Man United, after losing to Bodo Glimt, literally having like 2 wins from like 6 or 7 throughout this year, it's nice to get a third win. And now they face Galatasaray, and that could be a tough game. I know Galatasaray gave Liverpool a big upset when we played them in the second game of the Champions League. And then Man City still have to play against Tottenham later on. So I think right now, like, this is the kind of result they want. They've closed the gap at the top a bit. There's still time to go. Arsenal, if they win tomorrow, it goes back to 7 points. But ultimately, like, could City be back? Do you think they actually have what it takes to keep going and find a way to catch up with Arsenal? Finally they've kept a clean sheet and they've won a game. Would this be the start of something? Would this be the catalyst that makes them start to win more games? We shall find out. But I don't think the crisis is over just yet. I think they still need to stabilize in their defensive area. I think this is just one game from many, and there's still a lot to do. I think if they need to keep more clean sheets and keep scoring goals. I don't think scoring is an issue for them. It's just keeping those goals out of their own nets that has been a problem for them. But do you think today's lineup was right? Benching Haaland, was that the right choice? Benching Foden, was that the right choice? Starting Omar Marmoush, I mean, it worked at the end of the day. So no matter what you want to say, if you say it was the right choice, it was not the right choice. It was a choice that ended up working still. But that's it for this video. I'm going to watch Liverpool now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.